We're about to take a look at a 2.2 million follower content aggregator account on Instagram that has no real brand, but just launched an apparel line. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what I would do to turn this whole thing into a brand community, if you will, and in turn, sell a bunch of product as well. I'm going to use Zire Golf as an example, and they've got a big head start, but everything we're going to look at is going to directionally apply to any niche and any audience size, including if you haven't actually started yet. I'm an e-com junkie and product guy, and I've also taught more than 1,000 brands and personal brands how to create content, build audience, and ultimately sell them things. So this whole thing is really right up my alley. I'm looking forward to talking about it. In this video, we're going to look at what they can do to become more than just a meme page with reasonably priced apparel. We'll cover what exactly curation or content aggregation is, how to build a brand and community behind their logo or profile pic, if you will, what they should be doing on email, why they need to be doing it, and exactly how to get that started, content ideas to build said community and sell said product. And lastly, and a little bit of a tangent, why you should avoid the value trap if at all possible if you're doing any sort of product, service, etc. All right, so first let's take a look at Zire Golf. This page, notoriously in the golf community, posts other people's content and generally, I think, tags them as the creator. Pretty run-of-the-mill stuff. No matter what you're interested in, these kind of accounts exist in that space. All right, as you can see, all these videos are getting really like a baseline of 600,000 views. Plenty of them rip up over 1 million, 2.1, 3.5 million all the time. If we go into a post, you'll see that literally even the description of the post is one line and then the credit. All right, go to another one line and then the credit. So all this stuff is other people's content. We're really not taking any opportunity to inject any personality, any commentary of our own. And what that's left us with is a massive media property. I'd argue one of the bigger ones in golf, honestly. That may be a bold statement, but really, I think so. But it's fairly low leverage. From a business standpoint, these guys could basically run ads and upload videos for advertisers for a fee, and that's kind of the end of it. Now, interestingly, in November, they posted this. So our first ever collection is now available. $42 polos, $48 hoodies and quarter zips. Great quality at an affordable price for the people, by the people. Then here in the description, this is the first time they've really like said anything at length. And there's a great message here, right? It's one I think that's echoed by a lot of people in the community, a lot of golfers, that apparel has gotten crazy expensive, and is a $50 polo really too much to ask for, which it turns out in a lot of cases it is. We'll talk about that more later. So again, November 19th, mid-November, they launched this. I haven't seen anything about it since. I saw a couple of comments on my video about this that they occasionally post on the story, but that's kind of the end of it. It certainly, as you can see, isn't, anywhere here in the content. Like, these are all just the other people's videos that they're always posting. None of these are them making content about their product that they have for sale. Okay, so we've got a lay of the land of Zire Golf and what's going on with them. They're going to be the example we use here, but one more time, I want to reiterate, what we're about to look at applies no matter if you've got a head start like them, no matter if you're in golf or another niche, so on and so forth. Okay, so let's talk for a second about content aggregation and curation in general. First of all, if you want to create content and are not sure what your first steps are, curation is a great one. You basically enter a niche or industry and start curating all the things that are happening, the brands, the celebrities, the people, the events, all of that into one place, right? In this case, an Instagram account. You might do it with an email list. We'll talk about that. You might do it with a TikTok, so on and so forth. It is, generally speaking, all other people's content brought to one place, curated by you, and then with varying levels of commentary added to it. In a lot of cases, this is like the starting point for an actual media publication, right? I've got Hype Golf just popped up in my feed. I think that leads us perfectly to like a hype beast. Hype beast is much more than an aggregator or a curator today, obviously, but curation is really at the essence of what's going on with a publication like this, right? And hype beast is extended to Hype Golf. They got automotive. They got all kinds of stuff, right? Which is all centered around, again, capturing stuff happening in a niche, in a space, and then publishing it. In the case of a hype beast, they're adding a ton more context. They're adding actual journalism, writing, so on and so forth. But again, curation is a stepping stone, right? What Zire Golf is doing is not ever going to be a hype beast. This is just one example of where that kind of aggregation and curation can go. By the way, I just realized I have these little like dinosaur stickers on my fingernails. So shout out my daughter. Thank you very much. So another example of this, something that started with very basic aggregation and curation, is Barstool Sports, right? In the early days especially, they were just taking any sports video and getting it published on the site. Over time, that became a sentence. It became a few sentences. sentences or maybe certain categories of video that had much more expanded upon content. And now, of course, they're in full-blown media production and content creation mode. But Barstool, another example of something that basically started with this very bare bones curation and aggregation. Now, both these examples are taking this curation starting point and going down this media publication, journalism, content creation route. Another one that I want to show you is Malbon. Malbon is probably the hottest brand in golf right now. And a lot of people don't know this, but it started with an Instagram account. So as you can see here, and as you've seen for the last like probably 2 or 3 years, this is a brand account now. The beginning of Malbon was, as the founder, Steven describes it, a mood board. He was curating content that kind of lined up with his aesthetic, was around the golf world, and was just stuff that he wanted to bring together and publish to the world. This is the other end of that spectrum, again, with the seed of curation. They've taken this and gone full-blown lifestyle brand. It's obviously worked very, very well. I bring up these examples to really show the two ends of the spectrum of where you can start with very simple, humble beginnings, which is basically the starting point that Zire Golf is at. So how do we get Zire to be more than just this profile pic, which is really all they are now? I think this starts with a very simple brand exercise for the folks over there. And it's asking yourself questions like, what do we stand for? Who are we talking to? What do we represent? What kind of content do we repost? What kind of content don't we repost? All this kind of stuff. I noticed on the announcement post for the apparel that they said, for the people, by the people. You also see this line in their bio. That's a start. It's a great sentiment. It's a little bit generic. I think the weak point here is like, where else does that come through? No doubt this profile gets a ton of traffic, a ton of eyeballs, but that's basically the only point where they're pushing their vibes, their narrative, their brand into the mix of this content that they're sharing. And shocker, that's not enough to really like build anything that make people want to be a part of. Another point I mentioned in an Instagram video I did about this was, I don't know what Zire means. It seems like it may be one of those words that you just kind of say because it sounds cool and doesn't actually have any. When I Google the definition, this is like, in Cajun and Louisiana, Zire is a noun that means horror, disgust. It is also an extinct language known as Near, which was Oceanic and New Caledonia, blah, 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 blah. So like literally, what does the brand name mean? In those examples we looked at before, Hypebeast was obviously became this like really label or icon centered around like sneaker and fashion culture. Malbon is literally the founder's last name. What is Zire? Why Zire? Even if you've just decided to name this golf account after an extinct language, put it out there, let us know, give us something here, right? I don't want to get too much into what it takes to build a brand. The thing we want to focus on here is it's got to be more than nothing. And you have to give yourself surfaces to show that off. What I mean by that is Instagram accounts, websites, videos, written word, content that allow you to flex what that story is, what that brand stands for, all that good stuff. So today for Zire Golf, those surfaces are the one big account. They've also got this Zire Goods account, which 4 years ago had a couple images posted on it. Very vibey. It's giving like early Malbon Instagram account in all honesty. But again, this is like 3-4 years ago at this point. There's nothing else here. When I go to this website, Zire Golf, here I have a completely generic Shopify with some images that show their product being worn. And I have, of course, the product itself. The imagery all looks solid. The hat, I don't think is available yet, but the apparel, if we go to shop all, is kind of what was outlined in that announcement post they did. We've got a polo and I think 8 different colors, and then a quarter zip and a performance hoodie. All this stuff looks solid. Like they've got standard e-com photography, all that good stuff. Again, no about page, fairly generic photography. There's nothing here that really says this is who the fuck we are. This is what Zire stands for. This is what we're doing. This is what you can be a part of and purchase from us. The first and most important thing for these guys to do is to start an email list. We need a way to communicate with our customers and readers that is not reliant on the algorithm. I got a question earlier today about, do people really sign up for email lists still? Yes, email is not only alive and well, it's as good as it's ever been. I know my email list is something like 20,000 subscribers. I rarely put a call to action to it. It gets 65, 70% open rates. It's honestly the best thing I've got in terms of my personal audience. So yes, absolutely still viable. What Zire should do in the simplest form is do a weekly email that is a digest of their top 5 posts on their Instagram account. I'm gonna say it again, a weekly digest that is the top 5 posts from the content that you were already sourcing and publishing on the Instagram account. The way I'd message this to viewers is, hey, if you don't want to miss all the funny, interesting, viral clips happening in the golf world, just subscribe to our email newsletter and we'll drop it in your inbox every Friday. Literally, the minimum viable here is those 5 posts in an email link to them, right? Now I'm up to speed. I didn't miss anything as the user here. So that's a start. What we need to do in order for that to matter is get calls to action to join the newsletter pretty much everywhere we possibly can. Again, this thing is going to be the most valuable thing you can build, especially if you can flex these 2.2 million followers and get this email list up to like 100,000 golfers. All right, so most important thing I do is drop it in the bio here. I need a clear call to action to subscribe to the newsletter with why. I think that don't miss anything is a good one given the nature of this content. I need the only link to be the subscribe link. So the only thing that you can do if you're clicking around on links in the profile is go and subscribe and give me your email address. And then in addition to that, I want to go to every single one of these captions and do this, tag the creator, and then go stay up to date, never miss a viral post, subscribe to our newsletter in our bio, something to that effect, right? So that every time this video gets 1.8 million views in this case, you're probably getting 20, 30, 40, 50,000 impressions on a little email subscribe call to action right here in the post. And then when the user goes to the profile, it's the only thing they see at the top is to go and take action and do that thing. I think with an account this size, with content that does this well, very quickly we can get 5, 10, 15,000 email sub, and that is a game changer. In terms of executing on that, I would keep this simple, and I'm probably just using Beehive. I actually love this because their tagline speaks to what I started with here. Own your audience, own your future, right? Again, this is all about having a way to connect with the people that is not reliant on the algorithm picking up the video. So I'd do Beehive. Once you get popping, it's like 99 bucks a month. Very, very easy to do a MVP newsletter, all that fun stuff. This is not sponsored. It should be. It should be, but it's not. All right, so the elephant in the room here is that you have this 2.2 million follower Instagram account and nothing you are doing with it, none of the content is doing anything for you except, of course, growing the account, right? So we're doing nothing to A, sell our product. In this case, there was like literally the one post. I'm pretty sure that's it. Or B, push our brand, our agenda, our community, our vibes into the world. So the next step here is to start creating content. Let's start with content to help us sell stuff. Fashion and apparel crushes on Instagram, as you know, if you're a human that uses Instagram, right? What that means is there are a truckload of winning formats that brands have used over and over again to show off their product that you can basically use as templates to go and try things and experiment to get eyeballs on your product. I've got a bunch of these tagged right here. There's way more in my saved post. What I would do though, agnostic of niche, right, is jump into especially TikTok and search the kind of product that you need to promote and find the top videos promoting that kind of product. I'm not talking apparel. I'm talking golf polo. I'm talking convertible purse, whatever it may be, and look at the top videos. And what you're going to find is a bunch of really popular videos that you can basically treat as templates. Watch the video, take notes. It opens with this kind of shot and then it switches to this kind of shot. This is the kind of audio they're using on it if it's using trending audio. This is how they did the text. This is how they did blah, blah, blah. Look at these, find the top 3 for your product, and then go and make 3 versions of each of those top 3, treating them like templates, inserting your product, your brand, so on and so forth, right? Do this and do 1 per day on the Zire account immediately. They will not perform as well as your viral videos, but they will actually be doing something for you. I'll talk in another video about like content funnel and how to think about these things. What you basically have is your viral content that you've aggregated from other accounts is your top of funnel. And then once you have people, you have audience, your bottom of funnel is this content where you are showing them your product and hopefully compelling them to buy. All right, next thing we're going to do on the content front, and this is very subjective, it's time to have some personality and do some commentary here. So each of these videos is a banger in their own right. That's going to check the box for content that sells. Now let's talk about content that builds brand and community. This is going to be a fun one. You're going to go, that's cringe. Oh, I can't do that. Your next step here is going to be add commentary and personality to the stuff you're covering, the videos you're posting. I'm not saying to stop doing this where you're just reposting, but 1 per day, throw that video up as a green screen and add personality, add commentary to what is happening in the viral video, right? So instead of just uploading this video, green screen this video, be your little talking head right here. I'm going to give you an example on my profile. So let's see here. How about this video of Bryson the other day wearing this massive coat, right? Very simple video clip. This clip went viral. I thought it was funny and stupid. I jumped on top of it and literally just added some personality. Commentary is overstating what I did here. I just kind of like made a joke and added myself to it. This kind of video is not going to change the world, but you have 2.2 million followers and it's going to put your face, your personality, assuming you have one, in front of these people so they start to understand who you are and what you're actually about. This video does not do much for my account, but it does put my mug in front of an extra 300,000 people that it otherwise wouldn't have been. And for my followers, it just gives them a taste of me, which is always a win. Now, there are 100 ways to do this type of content. I just mentioned commentary over an already viral video. You could also cover headlines in the space. You could do more in-depth and valuable stuff where you're breaking things down. Whatever it is, in general here, I would try to lean towards value instead of just pure entertainment. Pure entertainment is probably a lot easier. The holy grail is when you can do both. At the end of the day, you just need to use this as an opportunity to make friends with your audience and give them vibes that they want to be a part of. I don't follow Zire religiously, but it looks like they're currently doing anywhere from 3 to 5 posts per day. If you use what we just went over, I would keep doing that 3 to 5 and then add 1 a day promoting the product or showing the product, and 1 a day adding commentary, adding value, personality, and making the page be about something and stand for something. I don't know what all those things are, but if you do that, all of a sudden you've got a pretty healthy content mix that could be really, really valuable for you. And I just want to say again that these new videos will perform very poorly compared to your normal videos because your normal videos are literally viral hits and because you're trying new stuff and it's going to be new to all these people. They haven't seen it before. You're also going to suck at the beginning. It's okay. Just ship it. Again, 1 a day showing product, 1 a day adding personality and commentary. All right, last thing that we're going to talk about here today is the pitfalls of doing a value brand. And this applies specifically to Zire, but I think it's a warning worth heeding for anything, any product or service you may ever do. When you do value, when price point is the only thing that your brand has to stand on, which it certainly is right now, we can hopefully change that over time. You are competing with Amazon Basics and Fabletics, Port Authority, the Adidas Climate Cool Polo, and spoiler alert, you will never beat them on price if they really want to play ball. And then second, the customer that this attracts is ruthless, frankly. You can do this business with a 50% markup, but you're probably not taking into account shipping on the returns and everything else that comes with this new business. In addition to competing with the biggest sharks in the pond, you also will encounter a completely ruthless and often unpleasant customer demographic when you're doing a value brand. They are not loyal. They're ruthless on things. They're not chill. They're oftentimes more of a tax on customer service bandwidth, all this kind of stuff. We will save this for another video. Just a word to the wise. All right, look, there is a ton of variables with everything we just discussed, and I don't have the answers specifically for Zire, their unique scenario, what their capabilities are, and it'll vary widely for other niches and whatever else you may be working on. But your core takeaway here should be you need to stand for something and you need to create surfaces where you can show that off and make that clear to people. We're talking videos, we're talking websites, we're talking emails, all right? You do these things, you've got a much more compelling business coming out of the other end of it. Godspeed. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. My name's Landforce. Let's go.